What you doing, beloved?
Attention, attention, my black brothers. What I want y'all to do right now is take out the do-rag, the silky, tie it down. I want to see the waves glistening. If you got nappy hair, pick it. Don't let nobody discourage you.
Ariel.
Black boy, black boy.
So, girl, I was looking at the intro or like the trailer for Married to Medicine, and I am already super excited about it. So I just want to say it made me feel like I saw Heavenly. Do you watch the show?
I've not watched it like consistently. I know because of course, like social media, but I like Heavenly because Dr. Heavenly, because she is very like in your face.
She's super bronze, and I was like, "Oh my god, why is she so brown?" And it's like it's really pretty. They had them in like this bronze palette or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've decided I'm gonna try to do that makeup look because I don't think I've ever done. Yeah, exactly. I'm so excited.
Yes, they also have like a new girl, right?
They do. They absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
I think is. Nope, I was gonna lie. I don't know what the girl's name is.
I don't think they said her name, or if they
somebody
did.
knew what her name was because somebody said something super fucking racist about it. They were like, they got rid of Mariah Huck just to bring a man who's got her saying like who looks like her husband or like the same background or some shit. And I was like, y'all don't know what the fuck that man is.
What is the relevance?
It sounds racist.
It's a little bit racist, but hey, everybody's a little bit racist. That's from a musical.
It's very true.
I was like, disclaimer, y'all just got that from a musical. But yeah, I'm interested. I like I've never got into Married to Medicine just because like I've just been so backed up on like Housewives and just like all that. So like every time I get a chance to see snippets, I think I watched the reunion with you and Omar.
Oh my god, you did! Wow,
yeah,
that feels like it was like forever ago.
Because Buffy was on the chair with them, which I also noticed. There's a lot of like OGs
on that show still.
Coming for the like supporting cast.
Yeah, Carrie and Lisa coming back. No, you know what? I am excited. I almost lied and said I wasn't excited, but I am.
And then we also see Quada supporting because she's not holding her scrubs or her ring, which she hasn't had. She hasn't had in since I think like the first season. So.
I will say that I was getting bored with what she was bringing to the group because I just feel like this is like I should be doing something else, but she doesn't like her opportunity with Sister Circle is over, so she just was there. Looking around. Yeah, so but anyway, let's get into this.
What's up, everybody? It is your boy lordevery.
And I'm derwinking.
And welcome back to another episode of That Black Boy Joy. Wow. Yes.
Whoa! Damn, girl, what you been doing today?
No, I had a complete like mini stroke. I pulled a Wendy Williams. I'm joking. I just thought I was saying the wrong thing. That's why. Okay. So what is up, everybody? It is your boy, lordevery.
And I'm derwinking.
And welcome back to another episode of That Black Boy Joy, where we create a space where Black boys can be themselves.
And so much more.
Yay! Yes, I completely it's a muscle memory, but I literally had like, am I saying this right?
I've been watching a lot of people do that lately. Like I've been watching the news every day. And today a man said erection when he was trying to say insurrection. Oh. And I've just been watching people like have slips of the tongue all day. And I don't know if this is just a regular occurrence because we're human beings on the news, but them niggas been fucking up lately.
No, they do. And I'll be cracking up. It's like when you're so automated to do something and you're so used to doing it that when you like fumble or when you like miss a line, it's hard for you to recover. So you break character.
Sometimes because it is like automatic, you'll like be conscious of it 1 second and then it's like, oh wait, am I doing this right? It's crazy when you like the minute that you actually consciously do something that you're used to doing unconsciously, it's just like, or subconsciously, it's like, oh shit, wait, am I fucking up? I
Yeah.
did that the other day. I was leaving a voicemail on someone's phone and like forgot my own phone number. And I was like,
I
oh, what?
I be doing that. It's like when you think about the things that you should not be thinking about because it's automatic.
Yes,
You start to
exactly.
like, wait, what? Like,
Second guess. It's so weird. I don't know why. I'm gonna talk to a psychologist about that because that's strange. Some
no.
weird shit.
Listen, it makes me more human. It doesn't make me feel like I'm an iRobot. So,
I can appreciate that. I can absolutely appreciate that.
yeah. How are you? What's going on? What's up,
Girl,
squirrel?
life is going. We're almost finished filming, which is cool. I am not sleeping. I don't know what is going on,
Mm,
but it's really difficult for me to fall asleep at night. And then I'm over the last like 3 months, I haven't been sleeping all the way through the night. And
yeah.
so because it's taking me longer to go to bed, I'm just tired all the motherfucking time.
You know that was me like in December. Like remember I called all y'all and was like, bitch, I'm having like sleep apnea. I'm also like
Yeah.
having like panic attacks. I just started to take Tylenol PMs.
I'm
And
taking melatonin and the shit's not working.
I recommend Tylenol PMs extra strength then because I take melatonin, but I the PMs.
My mom told me to stop saying that. Stop saying that.
Saying what?
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
The Lord's name in vain.
Don't say it, but yeah, you know you always do that when you're super busy. You forget about sleep. You completely are with asleep. But then it starts to catch up with you though. That's the thing. You do
Because I'm
fine.
not built like that. I'm
Yeah.
not.
I'm not built like that. Yeah, you're
I
definitely
will
not.
literally like it's crazy because what happens is I just be feeling sad. Like I wanted to cry like 3 times today because I was just like I'm tired and I'm hungry and I'm not working as efficiently as I'd like to.
Oh, you need to recharge.
Yeah. But it's like I won't be able to till February. So I am trying to push through and I'm like trying to
Yeah.
be positive with myself. But I'm also trying to be realistic. Like, hey, you are a human being. You do have your limitations. I just drank a whole
Mm-hmm.
bunch of coffee to try to like be energetic for the rest of the day. Hopefully that doesn't disturb my sleep further, but I don't want to talk about this anymore.
We don't have to. If you need, listen, if you need support, if you need to talk, I got you, girl.
Thank you.
But I've been good, but I've been just like, like on like cruise control, of course. My job just doesn't take that much energy from me. So lately I've been just bored making TikToks or just like working out or just like catching up on TV. But I have been doing good. I'm like, just here. I'm just like blah. Like it's definitely that, and I'm starting to realize with work, I don't like it anymore. Like I'm just
Oh,
like, and it's just
that's
because this
tough.
pandemic. It's the pandemic. It's because I'm not. I don't. We're not going back for the rest of the year, so I have to get used to this like mindset already, and I'm already like so. If y'all start seeing me do TikToks a lot more, it's because I'm purely bored.
I want to make a note about that, about work and the pandemic, because I feel like, and it's like a double-sided thing, right? Like a lot of people are unemployed right now, so
Hmm.
naturally we should, and many of us are grateful that we're still employed, that we're
Oh
not one
yes,
of the people who has absolutely no income coming in. But on the other end, it feels like it's been harder to work when the assumption was that it would be easier because we're working from home.
yeah.
And I think
It's
it really depends on what you do as well. Like I'm in social service and people are in need. So naturally we're super stressed out.
Yeah. We had to like alter like our job because I work with students. So like it's since they're not in person and we're more in person type of job, we work from Zoom all day. And my schedule was not like I didn't have like a set schedule in the office for real. So like since I don't go to the schools in the afternoon anymore, I just am like and I can hop on Zooms all day, but then it's also like I don't need to be on their Zooms because I'm like supervising people. So it's kind of just like what to do, like what can
Wow.
I do? So it's kind of I appreciate that I'm working, but I just don't feel like I'm like giving 100% or giving at least 80
That's so
because
interesting.
yeah. So I'm
I
just like
what do you think? Well, because now you're in a space where you're like, I think this is an interesting place for you to be at, right?
mhm.
Because it's like you don't feel like you're not doing enough at your job, but do you want to do another job that's busier, or what do you think you are in terms of like your career goals now?
I don't. First of all, I already know I don't want to work. Like, I don't have the mindset to work anymore. Like, I want to be my own boss. I don't think millennials want to have a job. When people ask, what is your dream job? Bitch, I don't want to work. I,
I simply don't aspire to
I,
labor.
I don't aspire. I want to get paid to do nothing.
Dream of labor.
So my sister always calls me when I'm doing this. So I'm like, girl, stop this.
You know what? Let me put mine on do not disturb as a matter of fact, because it do be. But you know what's crazy? Oh shit! I accidentally ended up on Clubhouse. Did you hear that?
Yes, girl.
I'm gonna say one thing. Clubhouse will really get on my motherfucking nerves with these notifications, and I don't want to turn them off because there are groups I'm a part of.
You can like minimize like how many.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
You can do that, but
So,
I'm good.
Let's get up into this Black Boy Joy Spotlight. I'm super excited about this one because I feel like I think we shouted them out, but like when we did the photo shoot, but I want to actually like formally celebrate C. Fletch. His name is Corey Fletcher. You can find him on Instagram at C.Fletch, CDOTFLETCH. He is a photographer and a very talented one at that. He is responsible for the photos that we are now using on our Instagram. Those beautiful pictures of every we've got many compliments on. Love his ability to bring vision to life. He also did the photography for My First Love, Withdrawals and Relapses, which is why we were so interested in having photos for this one, because I thought it was really on brand for the show. So you can also follow his actual photography Instagram, which is Fletch Studios. And that'll have his website, so you guys can book him very reasonable rates. He will also travel.
Yeah,
so,
it's very sweet.
Okay.
It was very sweet. I was like, he made me feel super comfortable, which I was like, oh, I don't know how to feel that, but he definitely made me feel comfortable. So I think you all should check him out if you're in the DMV area.
Yeah, he's supportive, and he's like, oh my god, that man grinds. So he does photo shoots for like every holiday. So his Christmas ones were impeccable. Loved the Christmas photos, and I know that he just filled up all his spots for Valentine's Day. So I'm excited to see what group of photos is going to be next. But that nigga is always working.
And this is full-time job now, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I love when your hobby can be your job. Like,
yes,
I love that.
Especially when you're talented at it. So it's not like, I mean, he did not half-ass. This man is actually really good at his job. So
yeah, shout out to him.
Welcome. All right, you ready to get up into these hot topics, girl?
Let's get into this gig, honey.
Did you happen to look at the conversation? This is not like, it wasn't like huge on social media, but I thought it was super interesting about Black women's hair in Hollywood. Yes,
I think it's huge. It actually is huge because I've been seeing a lot of videos. Like, I've seen a lot of women, like Tabitha from, not Tabitha, the girl from Sabrina. She does her own finger waves for the show.
Yes.
They also talked about like Kat Graham from oh my god, Vampire Diaries. You know, my Monique.
Yes. Yeah, I saw Monique from High School Musical.
Yeah, they also said Raven did her own hair and makeup.
You're kidding me.
I seen a comment. I don't know how true that is, but like, I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah, because they're not hiring Black people. If you look at the people who do makeup on sets, they're often white. They're starting to get a little better about that. But yeah, and I mean, like, it doesn't make any sense to me because hair is always specific to the character. So if you're half-assing hair and makeup, then you're half-assing that character, and you're solely relying on. And as an actor, there's something about hair, wardrobe, and makeup that really helps bring the character together. All we can really bring is voice, character, body, movement, and all that, right? But to create a full character the same way we are as humans, you need the full package. And so if hair is not really doing their job, then we're not really creating a full character. And why are you not interested in like representing this Black ass character well? Like, this is really just like an afterthought for you, or just simply not a thought at all. And I think that says a lot about how white people in Hollywood are telling stories. Why even try to tell our stories if you're not going to honor them?
It's funny because I watched a Comic-Con conversation with the girl that plays Iris West on The Flash on the CW, and she was talking about it like Like, I know y'all want to have the diversity check mark. You know, you want to have the queer character, you want to have the black character, but however, you have to have things that will accommodate that character. Like,
Correct.
I cannot have the same makeup, I can't have the same hairstyle, I can't have the same things as my white counterpart because we're two different colors, we have two different textures. And then when black people, because I'm even going to talk about one of the black guys, like when they would do black men's hair, like lineups on
Oh
shows
God.
like
Did you see
South of
Gary?
Sunset.
Did you see
Child,
Gary?
yes. I just was like, when they would, like, y'all couldn't even hire a barber for that day, so they
But
were
that
talking about that.
like like I, even imagining a barber being on set is so foreign to me. So I imagine a lot of black male actors have gone out to the barber shop to get their haircut and then come back into
Yeah.
work, and like hair and makeup is supposed to be on set.
Because that's what they were saying. Like, I don't get to feel like relaxed and comfortable because I have to
Oh,
go. I have to wake up and do my hair. I have to braid my like the girl from Boy Meets World. She had to do her like braids the night before she went onto set
this is
because
what. No, go ahead.
yeah. So it's just very interesting to see that they have the white people. They still have the luxury of like coming in, relaxing, and like it's interesting because like maybe they don't want to hire a black hairstylist or a black barber because it's only one character that they'll need it for,
Oh,
which is
whatever.
also a problem because it's like if you want me to be comfortable on camera, I have to feel and look comfortable,
That's
right?
correct.
Like I can't just feel look and feel comfortable when my makeup is busted, when my eyebrows are like not together, my hair is I'm giving you very much a U shape, my leave out is showing. Like
I
it yeah.
I think that's interesting because it, I can say from experience that if you're worried about so many things, it really does take away from your presence in the moment. And I think that speaks to how hard black actors have to work if they're in settings with white people and they're not being taken care of on set, then there's a level of relaxation they're not getting that their counterparts are getting. So if they're executing a scene well, then you have to think like, wow, these niggas is working extra hard because everybody else is like fine. They can come into work and know that whatever is not supposed to be their responsibility is taken care of so they can relax. I think when you're thinking about anything more than your responsibility,
Yeah.
it can affect your performance. It isn't fair.
Because I definitely get that. I think you going into a space where you're only supposed to worry about your lines. However, when you're also going in here to fix your makeup in a certain amount of time, to do your hair in a certain amount of time, to also dress yourself in a certain amount of time,
Oh,
it gets daunting. Because then you
yeah,
have to go on stage and be like, on stage or in front of the camera, and you're like, I did
right,
so
Mo.
many things that I forgot my lines, and then now you're looking like this person that's not professional. But then also, the girl from the Flash was talking about like how then you get labeled a diva or like dramatic or extra because you're demanding or requesting to have things catered to your complexion. So then that goes into the conversation. It's like I'm not a bitch for asking for a makeup style. I mean, a makeup artist. I'm not a bitch for asking for a stylist. I'm not a bitch for asking for my hair done. I'm simply asking for these things that my white counterparts already have that makes them feel comfortable.
I wonder what makes someone a diva on in acting and music spaces, because I could see if it was something petty like that little cliche, pick all the greens out of my out of my Skittles or whatever, or something like that. But simply asking for things that you need for your performance, where's the line for that? I would like to know where the line is for saying, okay, this is what I need to feel like comfortable to do this, and what spaces is it reasonable in and what spaces is it not. I actually had that thought the other day, and I can't imagine. I would expect, because large productions or studio productions have a better budget than your homemade
Excuse me.
things, that simply asking for something like hair and makeup is not unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable. It's very interesting because I think in our space, even like people of color in any space, like asking for what you're expected of or more it's very intimate. It's very scary. I know
Yeah,
for me, if somebody messes my order up at a restaurant, I don't always necessarily be like, excuse me, I'll eat it sometimes, but it's always that axing or not demanding or trying to basically say somebody did their job wrong or needs to enhance it. It's like that fear. It's like, how dare you tell me to do my part, or how dare you tell this is my, well, no, girl, you're also doing it wrong.
exactly, exactly.
It's not, I'm not telling you because you do it all the time wrong. I'm just saying in this moment, it didn't hit the mark for
And
me.
And there's really nothing wrong with asking for what you want. And honestly, like because what ends up happening is we don't articulate what we need.
We
And
settle.
then something goes wrong, or like we're not really working to the best of our abilities and we don't really have anybody like to blame. Have you ever been in a workspace and people, something like goes awry, or you hit like a boiling point and you're like, hey, like I can't do blah, blah, blah because of this. And then someone's just like, well, why didn't you ask for it?
It's not that easy to just, because then it also makes you feel like you're not competent at your job. Like if you even go into a job and you're asking for clarity, or if you're asking, well, I don't think I got all the materials, then it's like you're not competent, right? And I think
Right.
that's the thing. I always am a yes man, but then secretly I have to like hit up somebody and be like, so what was the real assignment? Or because I'm
Right.
afraid to ask for clarity, but I'm starting to do better at that because I'd rather ask for help instead of mess up the whole shebang. And then that's even
Correct.
like bigger. So
If somebody thinks I'm stupid for asking questions, I just decided recently that I just like don't care, don't know what I don't know. And honestly, I mean, I think I'm secure enough in myself at this point that I'm like, yeah, I asked a question because I didn't know the answer, and
yeah.
that doesn't mean I'm not smart or I'm not competent. It means that I didn't have this information, or maybe you didn't give me the information when you were supposed to. No,
Yeah.
it, it, what it, so let's go to. I wanted to ask you if you caught wind of the updates with Meg Thee Stallion, and He Who Shall Not Be
Uh,
Named.
I don't care anymore at this point about this man. I don't care that he is still prolonging this conversation. I don't know what you're talking about, but honestly do not care.
Well,
Like,
I will let you know that I think his team is trying to refute the evidence. And something about, I wish I could remember what the word is, but one of the
ain't
quotes
irrelevant.
said something about like gunpowder. And so her attorney was like, did he happen to mention that like did the statement say anything about the gunpowder found on his hand or the text message that he sent saying sorry? Because I didn't read it. So I was like reading through the article, and just I think it's interesting that we're still in a space where his team is trying so hard to redeem his career that they're steadily attacking Meg, because just a couple days ago, if not about a week or so ago, she was on Twitter having to like defend herself again. And it's
Yeah.
just amazing that it's been months of this, and she's still having to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I it to me is just being like, cause I think I seen something with Kelsey, Megan's old friend, was saying like everybody just needs to take a lie detector test. Like everybody just needs to take one, which I was like, it just, can he just apologize? At this point, it happened. Like why? I think if you just apologize for
Oh,
your
he did.
actions,
He needs to go to jail.
he needs, like, you just need to apologize and then just like try to move past, not past it, but like, admit your wrongs and like make yourself like better. Because at this point, it's just like you're digging yourself in a hole, and then it's just like misogynistic. It's just like hotepi, and just very like man explaining. It's just very much ego, pride. Like it's just ugh.
Well, that's the issue, is that there's no harm in him. If this were just two people, right? I don't think the damage of him denying it would be as bad as him being in a misogynistic genre, and then denying it, and then putting her in a position where people do attack her as a woman, as a black woman, right?
Then
Like,
just like walk away. It's like I think that's the issue I have. Is like you're letting people attack this black woman
yes,
when that is not. We should
encouraging.
protect it,
Okay,
encouraging it.
I'm curious about who's on his team that is doing that, because that's what she said. Megan has said that it's his team trying to, I assume, really redeem his career. But I just don't see that working, you know. And so they're just putting her through the fucking ringer for some shit that's just not gonna happen. So
Next case.
the next one, I know you sent me and Charles and Omar the video of the Real Housewives of Orange County, which I just want to say I called up from a mile away. Obviously, them bitches is racist. I mean, OC Orange County looks like Florida. I've said that before, and I'm going to keep saying it. Omar affirmed that and was like, OC is the Orange County is the Florida of California. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, good. It looks like it. It seems like it is to me.
Yeah, I don't watch Orange County. I think I stumbled across one episode when I was at home, just extremely bored. I will say I did like the like confessional look because it was very clean and crisp. I don't know what their team was there, but just it just was too racist. It was just too toxic. It just was too like oblivious to societal like issues or pressures to me that I just could not watch. Like it just was like watching. I was like, this is not. I can't relate to you girls. You talking about something that just doesn't connect. Racist people on the show, like
Clearly.
sexist people, like bigotry, like all type of just isms just throughout the show. And I was watching bits and pieces of their rerun. I mean, their reunion, and I was just like, okay, why is this woman calling herself black and then saying she's Native American and then calling out everybody else for saying that they're like posing for the Black Lives Matter movement, and they all were like, we were posing. I was like, wait, so y'all just staging Black Lives Matter movements and like,
Yeah. A lot of people on Bravo were being exposed for being racist. So I'm sure that they were just trying to put themselves in a position where that didn't happen to them because I'm sure like 80% of them are racist. What I thought was interesting was that every time Kelly, I think that's her name, said something like they were cringing. But just watching
Kelly's, because also Kelly's like, she's problematic without, she even, the Drunk
well,
Wives Matter thing.
she looks it. She looks it. Drunk wives matter. Like so, watching a group of white women sit around and talk about race, one of and let's add the other layer on there. Watching a bunch of rich, entitled white women talk about race is probably one of the most unsettling things I have ever witnessed. Because even the one who thinks she's most liberal, wasn't really
Brandywine
representing herself well. Like, just so embarrassing. They should be so embarrassed with themselves. And oh,
is when you're
I
not
just
educated. It
but you weren't. Obviously, they didn't even try to be. Like, it's just so weird to watch because you're on a panel where there's not a single woman of color, and I honestly don't want any women of color on that show.
it couldn't
And you
work.
had
It would not
nothing
work.
else. Like this had become a big topic at your reunion because obviously you women have absolutely no idea what happens outside of your own bubble.
Yeah. And then you go out and take pictures and like, okay, let's go. Like, we go out here and take a picture like this is a fucking amusement park. Or it's like, I think so. My issue, and I even had a conversation with my job about the conversation about this, is like race. I have an issue when white people feel like they either have to be silent in these conversations or feel like they have to be fearful in these conversations. I think at the end of the day, racism, whiteness is in every space that we've taken up in everyday life. And I feel like in these spaces, you just need to simply like talk from your experience, right? Talk from what you've observed, talk from like just being fully transparent that you've not been around black people, that you've not encountered racism. You have had moments where you are looking through the white glass lens. Like you just need to have that conversation because when you don't, it just to me it's just very weak and it's just very like you're still bringing whiteness into the conversation of racism that just does not like make sense to me. Like them sitting on a conversation, them sitting on like talking about race. I'm like, nobody's going to hold any of them accountable. Nobody's going to check them because they don't know. So
Yes,
they think that,
they didn't have the vernacular that they think they possess. Like they simply don't have the information. But see, this is something that happens on reality TV often. That they're having conversations about real issues in society, but they don't have enough information to have responsible versions of those conversations. So instead, you're opening up wounds. And you're talking about things that are really sensitive, and your audience probably doesn't really know a lot about it either. So you have people who are just learning about this information from you, and they're getting partial information. And
mhm.
if you're saying something like, "Oh, I have black friends," and no one says, "Hey, that's not a reasonable argument," then people are like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, she's got black friends. She's not racist." And there needs to be someone in those spaces all the time who does know enough about it, who can give enough information. And then there's
Yeah.
also the problem that there's not enough time to talk about it anyway. So you're having synthesized versions of that conversation and they're not effective. I don't think that conversation is going to help anyone. I think it's going to cause a lot of harm. And I,
Yeah.
I think it made a lot of people on Twitter super uncomfortable. Like watching a group of, I don't know, I can't articulate why it made me feel so uncomfortable. I think it was because it just was racist. Like it was just so racist. And I'm
It's
watching these women trip over their racism. And it was just so weird.
yeah.
And like, oh, this is on like TV. Like,
It's the lack of it's the lack of knowledge, it's the lack of history, it's the lack of empathy, it's the lack of just the lack of so many things. Like how do you speak about something so quote unquote confidently that you have no information about? You know, like how do you say I'm not racist? Okay, explain that.
yeah,
Like
like what
explain
why do you
why do you
think you
think
aren't?
that? Right. Like please just explain why you don't think you're racist. And then if you start to itemize blackness, that's the problem right there. Blackness is not an item. It's not I have this black friend. I buy from black. No, girl, it's the culture of it all. It's the conversation of this is what happened in our society. This is what happened in our life. And if you first of all, you can't speak about it. So don't speak about it. Right? Like the first thing about it is you cannot speak about racism.
If I am accused of something, like if someone were to call me misogynistic, I would want them to tell me why. Like, give me
Hmm.
examples of things that I've done, short, so that I'm, because obviously I'm missing something. If you're calling me this, it will give me examples. Because if you can tell me the things that I've done and maybe I don't know about them, then I'm like, okay, well, let me fix that. I apologize. Or I might do some research and be like, actually, but I think the minute that people get defensive about things that weighing what they're talking about, they really just dig holes for themselves.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to give them racist white women anymore.
No.
Time.
I wouldn't
So,
either. I do before we go on to the next thing, I do want to talk about did you hear about Mulatto officially changing her name? She went into a
what?
conversation and she's officially changing her name.
Who?
And you said to what? I don't know. I don't know if she's
Look,
gonna just do Big Lotto. I don't know if she's gonna call herself Lotto,
I could do
but
Big Lotto, but I got used to it.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you didn't hear that? I
No.
I need to stop doing that. I got used to calling her mulatto. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. And I honestly stopped caring about it, even though I understand that it's completely problematic.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had to choose what I give a fuck about.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think I was talking with Charles and I was in my head saying like, I don't think she needs to change it, but if she wants to change it, by all means change it. But I was like I didn't know. I think it was like I just didn't feel like she needed to change her name because of
I do.
the behind it. But she
I
officially changes it.
I I think it's possible that you and I feel like she doesn't need to change it, but we totally understand why people
Hmm.
do feel like she should. Like I know exactly where mulatto came from, and I understand. And when I first saw the name, I was like, this is an issue, but I think I did get used to it, and I started to think, in the grand scheme of things, that it's not as damaging as
Danny Lee.
other things are. You know what I mean?
It's not as
But
damaging as Danny Lee
it is
saying
what
he
it
want a
is.
gold bone. He want a yellow bone.
I love how they compared that to old girl Veronica Vega from
I
Love
am
Me From
black.
Miami. Their heads all said,
Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even process this, but that girl was saying nigga
yeah,
throughout that whole song.
yeah.
And I was just like, and that shows you that like I can't even like if you look a hint of a minority, I'm cool with it. But then I was like,
That's the problem. Okay, I'll connect this to mulatto.
mhm,
That's the problem with like the one drop rule. Like,
yeah,
it does start to blur the lines. And you'll probably have people arguing that that's why none of us should say nigga, but I'm not entertaining
nope.
that
Black
conversation.
black people can say it, white people cannot. Just like gay men can say faggots, f word, sorry, the f word to
Have
each
we
other
ever
if they
said that
want
on
to.
here?
I don't think so. That's why I took it back because behind, yeah, that's what I don't. Yeah, I'll name. I've said it to my close friends, or I've said it in spaces with friends because I feel like I can use the vernacular because I'm not using it to. Yeah, so I'm just stop
I
right
may
there.
or may not have said it several times in my life. I may or may not have. I will not confirm one way or another.
I'm rebranding it. If I did say it, girl, let's go to the next thing.
So I'm officially getting angry. We have gone yet another week, another day, another minute without the rest of our stimulus package, or just a completely new stimulus package.
Have you got yours?
I did get the 600. I did get it like the day that they told us we were going to get it. It was in my account. And I was like,
I'm gonna
oh.
just have to write that off on my taxes. I'm gonna have to write off on my taxes.
Um, I, I just it's so interesting because the biggest issue right now, or what feels like it feels like it's overshadowing COVID, is the financial crisis that we're in as a nation as a result of COVID.
Yes.
Like, people are really struggling right now. And we already acknowledge that the stimulus package is not enough, but like, we need it. Like, the people need it right now. It's so crazy to imagine. I think oh my God, I'm just now coming to grips with how stressful that part of this is. That the more time flies by, the worse this gets, it feels like.
Yeah.
And I see people's rent skyrocketing every day at work. We're getting people in who owe north of $10,000.
I
And
think yeah.
no, go ahead.
I think it's the mindset or the understanding that like you all are like holding off on people paying rent or like letting it occur. And you still, at the end of the day, they eventually will have to pay it. So if this prolongs, right, and you all are not telling people to pay their rent for like 5 months, right, and their rent is like $2,000, that bro, like that's 10,000. Well, 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, whatever, $10,000 that they're gonna have to owe at one moment, like, and they already been unemployed. So it's like I don't think that the government or businesses, are really putting things in place that will make sense about these like the unemployment. I think that's the issue I'm having.
Well, to add insult to injury, the people who are making these decisions don't have an issue right
I
now.
mean, they're still
Like,
getting paid.
their bills are paid. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
wearing like wonderful clothes. Where I'm talking to people who haven't been able to purchase clothes in the last 10 months. It's despicable to watch this disparity, this wealth gap, widen and widen and widen, and watch people not only be stressed out because niggas are dying, like, but then also feel like, there are people who can't feed their families right now. And thankfully I can feed myself as of right
Yeah.
now. And even though I complain about things I don't want to do at work or how much it's stressing me out, I'm
Yeah.
grateful that like I do have income coming in right now. But it's so interesting to watch. There seem to be a lackadaisical approach to getting assistance to these two American people. And then like I hear them talk about it on the news and it almost feels condescending. Like they're like, "Oh yeah, we really want to get money into the hands of American people so they can put food on the table." Now it's like rhetoric that they've used forever, but like what are you doing? Like what is
Yeah.
happening? And I haven't been able to, and I apologize because I didn't intend for today's conversation to be like heavy. I was hoping it would be like a healthy, hearty conversation.
I
But I
think it's
think
perfectly fine. Yeah.
this is the first time that I'm really coming to to grips with the fact that like shit is still fucked, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
watching Biden make some really, good decisions, but like we have to see them like they actually have to be implemented. So we're
Yeah.
talking about them and signing in place, but then we have to go through the process of it. And in the meantime, people are still hungry, Like,
Yeah.
it's
I,
suffering.
I think that's the issue that I have just looking at what like the power is in people, in the hands of people that do not care, in my opinion. It's like they're throwing out sympathy things and trying to like, here goes $600. What the fuck is $600 going to do when we've been damn near in a pandemic for a year? Like people have lost homes, people have lost jobs, people have lost like car, like it's people have lost things that they probably will never ever be able to get back. And the
Yeah.
fact
Yeah.
that we are struggling with the understanding of we need to freeze certain things. We need to like absolutely just freeze it. We need to, but then you also have to think about the white people that's like, oh, well, we need the money. How we're going to keep our businesses afloat? Then if they're not paying us, then how? It's just like there needs to be like I don't know what to honestly do because I'm like, I mean, yes, y'all can
I mean,
give all this money out.
you and I are not economists, so
I
it's not our
That's
job
not
to
my
tell
job,
you. But I
but
can tell you that I can guarantee you it's not that fucking difficult. I can
it's
guarantee you
not
it's not. I can guarantee you it's not.
because like we had forgot your friend from Australia name that fast. Wow.
Reese.
Reese on the show was talking about like I apologize, and I'm friends with Reese. I am.
Hey,
My
what's
brain.
up?
Right. I'm like I know Reese, but no. When he was talking about like the give like $2,000 a month, and that's been
Exactly.
in place. Like
That's what Australia's population is absolutely like less than 10% of ours. I will say that much.
yeah, but I also think about when people have conversations about like how America is like one of like a really great country. They always put it compared to like third world countries, which is so interesting to me. It's like why do we compare America? And this I think is off tangent, but like how we run our country, we always compare to countries that are not in the same playing field as us. Like if we get a win against like Australia, Switzerland, not Switzerland, but like other countries that are affluent, we are nowhere near them. But I'm like, why do we always do that? Like I'm always like, why do we always go against these countries that are third world that are not in our that are not like close to us? Let's go against the ones that really, Canada or something. Do that.
I I wanted to read Arquez. Do you know who that is?
Arquez.
Looks like give me if I'm lying on this man, but pretty sure he's
He
a
was.
porn star.
He
Okay,
was an
because
adult
now I guess
entertainer.
he's a musical. I think
He was an adult entertainer.
And I know that like he also, I guess he's a musical artist right now, but I was over the weekend, was looking at his tweets about the stimulus and oh, the Democrats want to give all this money away, like, and that's going to like worsen our economy. And obviously, like, this is, I guess he's a Republican because he kept saying you Democrats are going to have this country broke or whatever. And I was just like, you obviously don't have like even a basic understanding of how the economy works. Fact, stimulus packages aren't some shit that they were just doing so that people would eat. They also were doing it so we could stimulate the economy. That money that they were giving us was going to
go back to them.
back into the economy. Like he's a dumbass. I was so angry because I'm watching this person who, and I feel like this happens so much on social media. You have people who want to be rich so bad that they just feel like, okay, what I have to do is be have to be conservative about how I think money should be distributed.
Yeah.
Or, wealthy people don't worry about what, other people have going on. And sure, but like they don't even study what they're talking about. So you're just saying some shit you probably heard somebody else say, who probably heard somebody else say it, and none of those motherfuckers know what they're talking about. So then I was watching Biden talk about his equity plans, and I was like, you know what? I should go up there and tell Arquez he doesn't deserve any equity benefits since his motherfucking ass thinks that we shouldn't have any. You sit your stupid ass, since Democrats don't know what the fuck they're doing. Since stimulus packages are just so absurd to you, since you know every fucking thing. One out. You sit this one out. I can guarantee that Arquez ain't making north of like $100,000 anyway. I ain't gonna try to count his pockets too much, but I really don't see the girl making $75,000. I'm sure he aspires to.
I know, and also I want to say there is, expiration dates on adult entertainers. When
girl, don't I know it?
When the old Supreme dies, the new Supreme rises. So I don't think his assets are still, holding him afloat.
No, unless he finds a good company that specializes in, because I know that there's a market. There's a market for mature porn. I don't know that I see him in it. But
I love this shade that we're throwing, but it's very like
him.
Casual.
Fuck anybody else who thinks that, because in the meantime, while you talking about what Democrats are doing and not doing, people, and probably your auntie, your uncle, and grandfather, I don't know why I chose grandfather and uncle, but your own family members are probably struggling to eat, and bitch, your ass might be. And you get up on the internet and you say these things, and people are telling you that you sound like an idiot, because you do. You sound like a dumbass. And he doubled down on that opinion. And I'm like, you genuinely don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Do you follow him?
No, I saw the screenshot, so I wanted to see. Okay. And I was reading through it, and I was like, wow, you have no brain. Like, this genuinely has no idea what you're talking about. But because Americans are in this position, it makes sense that things like GameStop happen.
Yeah, I don't think what happened. I think they was. I think they were just upset that the civilians or regular people found out how to fucking do stocks. I think they was like, whoa, wait.
These people needed money, and so the minute that they found out that there was a way that they could do to, the 1% what has been done to them, suddenly it was like a huge thing. Now, I will say I watched MSNBC today, And Stephanie Rule was saying that the reason that they likely um, shut down the buying and put us in a position where they could only sell the shares is because I guess you have to be able to settle those. And I guess the number of shares, I don't know how to articulate this as best as she did, but she said at that point they owed like 150% more than what was available.
Yeah, because you have to like pay it back. You have to like
Yes.
give that back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there isn't enough to pay everybody who owns shares and like that back. So at this point, it's like now you gotta figure out how the fuck. And I guess the companies like Robinhood would be responsible for that difference. They would probably go bankrupt. So on one hand, I'm super glad that the people are going to be get their coins. I hope they will be getting their coins. And I totally understand why something like that would have happened. I totally understand why people would rush to an opportunity to bankrupt the company because niggas is hungry. Like, it is what it is. It simply isn't people just wanting to be rich. I mean, a lot of people want to be rich.
Well, I want to make sure I can get my video games still because I love GameStop. So hopefully I can go get video games.
And you still go?
I do because I can't.
Go?
I still go in person. I don't order mines online. I have like rewards with them. Like I can't do it now because I have gift cards, so I have to go in person because they don't do to use my gift cards. We're off topic, but to use my gift cards, I have to go in person. Which I was like, girl, this is disgusting. So hopefully they don't. But I'm glad we are getting our money. The working class,
and we deserve way more than God.
Way more.
Right. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Since we're on the subject, I figured today we would just talk about money.
Money.
Oh, bitch.
Money.
We see each other.
We see each other, girl.
So I think obviously it's super relevant. Like we just spent the last 20 minutes talking about it.
Yeah.
This is such a pivotal time for people to examine their relationships individually, structurally, this country's relationship to money, because I'm curious to see what it will look like for us moving forward, right? Like our economy, just like it's in the balance.
We're not comfortable. It's literally we are not comfortable as a society right now because people don't know where their money is coming from.
And it's crazy because I've run into a lot of people at this point who I talk to them and they're like, I've never been in this position before.
Yeah. I mean, when I first moved here, I had a job that wasn't paying me a lot. And I was definitely penny pinching. But I do want to say I had the privilege of my parents supporting me financially, which so I know I say I'm from the hood, all that shit like that. Yes, my upbringing, yes, hood. However, I was fortunate enough to be technically middle class because of my father's income. So growing up, I was in these hood spaces, but not hood. No, I was hood, but like I wasn't the money.
Hood adjacent is what it
sounds
like.
I was hood adjacent in the hood. Like you didn't know
was hood rich.
I was hood rich. I was very much, I can afford this, whatever. So moving here, I was financially able to, my parents was able to pay for my rent and things like that until I got myself grounded. And then I found a job that was paying more, but still needed their financial support. So I'm glad that like now I'm at a space where I don't need their financial support. And I appreciate that I have that opportunity because like I said, I know a lot of people that do not, but what I'm trying to say was I think that I'm glad that I'm not in that space that I was before because that job that I was at I would have been fired. I mean, let go of because they would have had to save the money. And I literally got to this job, like I think in August of 2020. No, was it 2019? And March hit. So I was
wow, yeah.
Half of my new job, I was on Zooms. So just was going to say like I'm thankful, but I understand like, bro, like shit, people are not. I don't know. I don't know how I would have moved living out here. I think I would have moved back home.
Well, my experience with money, since I was little, we just didn't have a lot of it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You've been breaking up, of course, because of connection. It's fine. it's the connection. We are on a pandemic, sis. We hear you.
You know what? I'm gonna start looking into higher, because we're gonna have to start paying a little bit more on this cable than on this internet than we are. Because at
Yes.
this point, I'm getting sick of this bullshit.
Yes.
I
But
hate I hate not having control over like.
we have to make the most. And I know we're off topic, but this is just fully transparent. I've been watching so many things that are virtual now, and people are making it. It happens by
Yeah,
like people's
on the news
quality on the
often.
news. Yeah. So it's nothing that we can control, but
It just
we can hear you.
thank you.
I'm trying I virtually like giving you like a hug and like a
Okay.
massage.
I just feel like right now I just like so stressed out. Okay, whatever. Um, yeah, so historically, haven't had a really great relationship with money. And I've been working really hard over the last year, which is amazing that I've been able to transform my relationship with money during a pandemic, during a financial crisis. I'm learning how to be more responsible with money. I'm learning how to appreciate money a little bit more. I'm sure I've mentioned on here several times that I was making a lot of money when I was at Target, but
Target.
then that when I left, obviously there was a shift, especially since I was unemployed for like 6 months. So I didn't adjust my living expenses. So everything that I had saved had gone down. And then, the further down you go into the negative. So I had
Hmm.
started accumulating debt. And like yourself, when I moved to the DMV, I started working at a place that was completely like I was not earning enough money to live in
Hmm.
the area. And I even negotiated that salary, but because of what they were offering to someone who already spent $200,000 on a degree, what
Okay.
what I ended up making was obviously like still nothing. And even when I had gotten a raise, it was still nothing. And that was like that yearly like raise and one about to
Hmm.
get. Um, and when I tried to negotiate an additional raise, they acted like it was so like impossible. You
I did
remember
that
that?
at, I guess I also did that at my old job, and I think that was the reason that expedited me leaving. Was like
Yes.
I had asked for a raise multiple times. Like I would, like I needed a conversation about it, and they would look at me like, "Yeah, we can't do that," and
Like
I'm like,
what? What do you mean you can't do it? And
"I
this is
if I
pre-pandemic?
hmm this was
Wow.
2018, 2018, 2018, 2019. And I was like, if you cannot give me a raise, I'm going to have to find another job because financially, I was getting paid $39,000 contracted. So y'all think about that. I was a full-time contractor. So my money wasn't being taken out. And as somebody that was not well versed in
Exactly.
how much I was supposed to take out in taxes, I was putting money to the side. I ended up owing thousands of dollars back
I'm so
to the
sorry.
IRS.
I'm so
So
sorry.
as 24, already like owing IRS money, I knew realistically, and my parents could not support me that way
Yeah.
to the point of me having to give them thousands of dollars. Like I said, hood rich. I wasn't rich, so I had to learn how to like. I'm paying off my debt, so I'm not like off. I have a lot of debt. I will say that, but continue. I just
Well,
want.
this is what's interesting. Because I was a little when I first got here. That's what you were making is the ballpark of where, and
Yeah.
honestly, was more than what I was making at that time. And it's amazing to think about how I was balancing my finances or attempting to balance my finances. Because at that point in this area, if you're making less than $40,000, at some point you're going to struggle to keep food in your home.
Yes, you
That's
will.
inevitable. If you are
The DMV.
making less than $40,000 in the DMV, at some point you are struggling to
If
keep
you don't
food.
have multiple roommates, um,
I have three. And making
I
what I was making, I was struggling to keep food in this home. And because you also think, if you do have a car, which I did at the time, you're paying the insurance, you're paying the car note if you don't own that car. You are paying rent depending on what your rent is.
yeah.
On top of that, expenses getting to and from work, any other additional bills, student
That
loans. You're not
child.
you're not making enough to live well. And you know what, you'll find this more often for people who have degrees with the younger people. I mean, now don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people who are in the professional realm right now and they're making enough at least to like not ever be concerned about food on the table. And I will also recognize that a lot of my financial issues are because of my pursuit of my creative endeavors,
Yes.
which I will not apologize for because I genuinely do not mesh well with the professional realm. Yeah, I'm never going to apologize for that. Like, could I have made smarter decisions financially? Sure, but I'm not going to apologize for pursuing my talents, like
Yes.
for wanting to use relevant skills.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm the same way. My debt came from, well, one, student loans, B, not being well versed in a conversation. I just needed a job. I was like, I want a job. I need a job because I wasn't getting
Horrible space to be in.
horrible space. And I definitely knew I wanted a car when I moved here. So my parents paid for me a car, but I had to pay for my gas and all of that stuff. I wanted to still enjoy somewhat of DC. So like there was, so I was constantly in a space of like, I want to say there was food on my table, but like there was food on my table, but there was like, I couldn't enjoy life in my 20s. I would literally have to been just stay in the house, just go to work, stay at home, stay. And I'm like, that's not healthy for us.
Right.
And that's not,
Right.
when people say like, you can live off the necessities, you actually cannot. Like, because you also have to think about like,
Who says that?
people say like, you can live, oh, this is, you can live off this. But it's like, what if my car breaks down? Well, you should have a car. How am
Most
I
people
going to
who say
work?
that don't have to do that, so they don't actually know what they're talking about. Most
Yeah,
people who
because
say that don't have to do it.
I had a boss try to sit down with me and calculate my finances to prove that my
Excuse me?
check was enough. And I said, I'm not sitting here doing this with you at
Please don't
all.
tell me stuff like this because I
I'm
hate the
not.
professional realm so much. That shit makes me hot.
I said, the fact that you don't want to pay me for my experience and pay me for my skills, it kind of like is a slap in the face. So
And this is at a nonprofit, right?
yes, I've
So
only worked nonprofit.
let's get
I've,
into that. Because when I was at my last job, there was this woman who would always make jokes about millennials. Oh, like we should have a laundry unit in the office so the millennials can wash their clothes, or oh, you guys can take the extra food. I know you're hungry. She thought it was hilarious that we were struggling as much as we were as like young people, and I guess because
yeah,
historically that's like, but even the way that the way that their generation struggled when they were younger is probably nowhere near what we are
it's
experiencing.
it's it's not the same.
She thought that shit was hilarious, and I'm finding that that's a common thing in nonprofits, that they are making so much money the higher up you go that they are genuinely exploiting us at this level. And so not only are they're making sure that they're gatekeeping opportunities from us, but they're genuinely destroying our finances because they
Mhm.
don't even, I don't even think they have taken the time out to determine what the cost of living is compared to what they're paying us.
No, I think
I don't think they even stop to be
yeah.
like, huh,
Both of the jobs that I had prior to this one did not give me benefits
oh
at all.
my God, what the
So
fuck? What the fuck?
both of the jobs, I did not have benefits. I luckily was still on my parents until I was 26. So, but I'm from Ohio, so using Ohio insurance in DC was extremely expensive because I was not in whatever it's called, like provider, or not in whatever. So there was moments where I didn't go to the dentist. Like I was like, I can't afford it. Like
Right.
I couldn't go to the doctor. I couldn't afford it.
Wow.
It
You'll
was like that.
find a
And
lot of Americans in that
yeah.
position right now. Right
And
now.
I think that's also interesting too, because like jobs know that they will prefer to hire millennials because they'll take anything. They will hire millennials because we are hungry. We'll be like,
Yes.
we'll start off at this 40,000, but then we try to get up and you like, oh, we have to wait. Or so they know that they can exploit us for our work because we will work because we want to like enjoy wherever we're at, but they won't want to pay us for our talent. And I think it's funny because I would be the one that'd be like, hell yeah, if y'all got food left over, give it to me, right? Like, hell
Oh,
yeah. Like,
but
if
you
y'all had luckily, I've always had a washer and dryer, but like, I've known plenty of people that, like, if they needed to bring we would bring our like clothes too. Like, but don't make it a funny thing. Like, don't be like, oh, poor millennials, here you
That's
go.
exactly how she did it. And she thought the shit was funny. And I'm like, bitch, like if this was you, first of all, that's so insensitive to do to anyone. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine being out in the world and let's say it's a homeless person and you're like, oh, you probably look like, oh, you want to like, why would you make light of someone being like economically challenged?
Think about our ancestors. Like our just if you think about our ancestors, they did that, mocked us. Like we would literally have to get, like, we already know the story, like scraps. We would have to get paid like 15 cents for doing something. Oh, you want to eat at the table with us, you probably have to get some of your money taken out of your, like, we know it. We understand it, but it's like the fact that it's the white privilege for me.
And then to add insult to injury, they accuse us of being lazy, right? Like
Yeah.
they make, I mean, every single young millennial that I know today who works at a nonprofit or even at the for profit, they're working so hard. And yet somehow this narrative has been painted of us that we're like these lazy people because we expect to be compensated appropriately for breaking our backs like daily.
Yeah. I think
And
it's
like,
interesting.
go ahead.
I think
Oh,
it's just interesting that we are told that we are like demanding too much. We're asking for like necessities for surviving. They're like, oh,
livable wage.
you just wanna like enjoy the city. It's like, girl, why are you trying to talk about my pockets?
No, I want to survive in the city. The fuck? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? What?
I didn't come here to just live in my apartment and then go to work. That's not you.
Well, well, that's what was interesting about the beginning of the pandemic when things shut down. I was in the house and I did start saving so much money, and I was like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" But like, that means that if I was going to save money with my current income pre-pandemic, I would have needed to stay home every day.
Hmm.
Like I would have needed to
You would
have
have to get the
no
right amount of
social life.
groceries. You would have to have the right amount of groceries. You'd have to have the right amount of stuff that you wouldn't need to go out of the house to do anything. If you have a car, you need to be in walking distance of the grocery store. And then also like you have to have enough money for the groceries. Like
Right.
it was like the calculations to me. It was like, girl, like how do you survive?
You wanna know what's crazy? When I totaled my car, um, on one hand I was like, "Oh wow, I can't believe this." On the other hand, I was like, "Praise the Lord, I don't have
You
this expense."
when you came to my house, you were so excited.
It's like, girl, that's one less piece of debt I got to worry about. I'm like, gang, gang. Like,
You
can
said
you
my car
believe
broke
it?
down.
I was like, I mean, on one hand, God bless that deer that I hit because I have no idea what happened to it. And my heart still breaks for that deer. Did I tell you that the next morning I got on Tumblr and there was a picture of a deer on my dashboard and I was like,
Oh, it was the deer you killed.
felt so weird. But yeah, like I couldn't help but feel relieved that that was several thousands of dollars that I didn't have to worry about paying, including the insurance like being lowered because now I don't have that expense. And like I've chosen not to drive since then because of that. But this is why I wanna, and I honestly don't really ever want to drive again. I don't mind like renting cars and driving. I don't have a problem with driving. I'm not afraid of getting behind the wheel of a car. What I don't want to do is have to dedicate any bit of my funds to a vehicle. Like I just don't. And I also don't want to pollute.
Yeah.
If I did get a car, it would have to be a hybrid at this point because I mean, climate change is also a pending issue in this country. But I think hybrids are expensive. So here we are. Like,
Yeah. No, I get it. I knew for a fact. I wanted a car to be transparent. I was not used. I like to just get up and go. And when I first had my first car, I didn't have to pay a car note or insurance. My parents were paying that, so only thing I was paying for was gas. So
praise the Lord.
I was like, all right, okay. It was got me from to and fro to Ohio to here and in between. However, when my car broke down, old Betty, she was non-binary by the way. She broke down. She whatever I want to call her. I had to actually get a car because I had to get back to DC. Now, if my car broke down because I was in Ohio at the time, now if my car would have
Um,
broke down in DC,
that'd have been that.
child, it would have been left on it. But I was in Ohio,
Yeah, I
so
was lucky.
I could have flew back. But I had also like too many bags. Like I drove home with a shit ton of stuff, so I
Right.
had to get a car. And thankfully, I've been able to pay. However, it is a lot that like if
Yeah.
the car broke down right now, my parents, if they cannot pay it for me, I am not paying it. She gonna
So
be lost.
I want to shift gears and talk about the what I mentioned earlier about changing my relationship to money.
Hmm.
Because had experienced, oh my God, it's so crazy. My roommates and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago about what poverty looks like at different levels. And so we were talking about the nuances of not having a lot of money, right? Like, so um, it was something like, my roommate said we were trying to figure out, we were comparing each other's socioeconomic backgrounds, and one of my
Mm-hmm.
roommates was trying to argue that, like, because he was like working class, that he was uh, poor. And so we were like, I don't know, man. I feel like you were probably like, okay. And he mentioned what his family was making, and I know for a fact it was more than what my mother was bringing into the home with my sister and I in there.
Yeah.
So we were talking about experiences. It's classifying poverty based on the experiences that you've had.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them said, "Have you ever gone on a field trip and like didn't have like lunch, like didn't or didn't have like the snacks or like lunch?" And that shit like hit me in my chest because I was like, "Oh my fucking goodness!" Like, whoa, that's been my experience going on a like being having anxiety as a kid about your like ability to eat on something as simple as like a field trip, or going to like the Scholastic book fair and not having the money to get a single book, and you're watching these kids come in with these like, and it wasn't like super expensive. And max it was like 20,
It was like 20 bucks. Yeah.
like books might be like $10. I'm looking at these figures at like 8 years old, and I'm like, wow, I can't afford to get this. Like, I can't afford to
Mm-hmm.
buy this. And it's such an awful place to be in as a kid, to be aware of poverty, because it does shape the way that it does shape your relationship with money. So I think I grew up having this anxiety around money all the time, and that is an awful place to be in, because you start believing like maybe either you go one way or the other. You believe you're always going to be broke, or you work super hard and make a lot of sacrifices so that you're never broke, and even that's not super healthy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you end up, having the money you need, but if you always believe that you're going to, if you always have anxiety around money, it's an awful way to build your finances. So I
Yeah.
had to learn how to. I had this woman, Christine Ruiz. She and I talked about anxiety around money, and she said, pinpoint the first time that you felt that anxiety, and just like give your child stuff what they need. And I went back to that point, and I recognized that a lot of what I've done, a lot of the decisions I've made regarding money have been because you know of that experience. And I started working on changing my perception of it. And ever
Mm-hmm.
since then, I've gotten really good at, I've gotten back to a good place of like saving my money, and like making wiser purchases. And I won't say that because I was accustomed to a certain, economic status, that I was like completely sabotaging my income. But I think I did start to believe that I didn't deserve,
Yeah.
like I internalized the belief that I did not deserve money, and that destroyed, or it severely damaged my relationship with money. And now I'm like, yeah, I deserve to live well. Like, I don't have to like, I'm getting out of survival mode, and I'm like, I should be living wonderfully.
Yeah. No, my relationship to it is completely different. It's different, but so I was fortunate enough to my parents were still together, and obviously with two incomes in a house, more money was there. But I was not oblivious to things around me. I was never in spaces where I didn't know people were starving. I didn't know, like, my siblings and things, like, or people around me definitely didn't have the resources and things like that. However, I think the issue that I had growing up was I was afraid of asking for support because I didn't want to be in debt. I didn't want to owe people back. My
Seriously.
dad was somebody that you never want to owe people back. You never want to have debt on your head because then they have control of you. And I was
Yes.
something that I never wanted. And growing up, I was able to, if I wanted a, if I wanted something from the Scholastic Book Fair, I just have to ask. I just I just didn't like owing people. It was just something about just like I wanted to do this my own. So I got to the point where I moved out here on my own. I didn't want to ask my parents for help. I didn't want to, have support because like I wanted, because I grew up, people were saying you were spoiled. Period. I'm just name. I didn't think me and my sister were spoiled, but I did understand that we did have resources that were not accessible to others. It was never something I was throwing into people's faces. It was never as something that we was like, aha, you don't have it. It was something that like we would walk in with, I guess, the new pair of shoes. We didn't show them off. We didn't like try to like be like, aha, bitch. Because like I said, my auntie, she had to work. She didn't graduate with she dropped out of high school. My mama dropped out of high school. My parents went to the military. So they like Section 8 food stamps. Like we knew that life. My mom and them will make me go to my cousin's house who hood. And I'd be over like, we eating tonight, y'all. What we eating, y'all?
Oh Lord Jesus.
And I'm like, oh no, you're gonna stay over there. Like, you're not coming over here. But long story short, it was my relationship to money was like, I just don't want to be in debt. I don't want to owe people. Like, I do not want to. So I grew up not asking for anything. And my parents would be like, why aren't you asking for this? Why are you struggling? Why are you over here doing these things? And I was like, I don't want to ever feel like I am better than anybody. I never want to but my dad was like, I never had this. I wanted you all, because my mom and dad were poor when they grew up. So he was like, we wanted to provide for you all. You are fortunate enough to use your resources, but you never were taught to throw that in people's face. So I had to like reframe my mindset about it because I felt so bad. Like I would literally I would dirty up my shoes. I would literally like not act like I had resources because I'd just be like, if I act like I have resources, I'll get bullied. And I did get bullied. Like I was like, I would lie and say I would lie about certain things. Yeah, it was me and my sister. We would just stay by ourselves. Like we could not show, like we had to lie about our lunch. We didn't get free lunch. We had to lie about it to tell people we didn't get free lunch. So
I saw there were a lot of people I went to school with who were, and most of them were black, which is really interesting. I mean, obviously because of systemic racism, but I know a lot of people who had free lunch. We did not, which was I thought was so interesting, considering my mother was a single mom, that we were classified as having too high of income for free lunch.
yeah,
Which I can only imagine what that means for like the level, like. I remember growing up and learning that they hadn't updated like the poverty level, like the income for poverty. So there were people who were clearly not making enough money to like sustain their utilities and their rent and their money. But because the information hadn't been updated, they were just going to have to struggle because they weren't eligible for services. Your money is a crazy motherfucking thing.
it is. It is. I think when we were applying for college, that was something that was serious because my parents were putting two kids through college at the same time. So we didn't get grants or Pell Grants because our parents made too much, which I was like, bro, it's two kids, right? I wouldn't be in debt as much because I wouldn't be in debt as much if I was accessible to those things. So I was like, what?
That is the blessing that I am so grateful for, child. I like, whew, I will, that's why I brag about it, because I'm so thankful that that's one thing that I did not have to worry about when I walked away from school. Like that feels like a win that I've had this complicated relationship with money, but when I walked away from college, I somehow didn't have to walk away with this beginning threat of like everlasting debt. I think even like the debt that I have today, I know that I could probably settle before I turn like 35 years old, which I'm looking very much forward to.
I think I in a realistic thing, I have debt. Just be transparent, but I don't think I'm going to die with debt. I think that is something that like I am naming and I'm proclaiming and I'm understanding.
Name it, claim it, girl.
I am not going to die with debt. I hopefully will get to a place where I have income that can pay off my debt. I can have a system where I'm no longer in debt, because debt is the reason I am not comfortable. Debt, if I was able to not have to pay the debt that I owe, I would be comfortable. But since I'm in debt from decisions.
let's see how the Biden administration, plays out, because perhaps you guys will get a break on the student loans thing. I'm really hoping for that because that'll take my
Yeah.
debt down significantly, and I'll actually be able to pay attention to and have like a lot more excitement. I mean, my debt is decreasing every day. I did check my credit score today. I hadn't checked it in weeks. And they were saying to go check your FICO score because people were using Credit Karma and they found out that their score was completely different on FICO.
Yes. I remember
And
I couldn't get a credit card. I could not get a credit card because of my credit card was telling me something completely different than my FICO. My
yeah,
FICO was saying the actual number. My credit card was saying, luckily I was able to get two credit cards. I think I wasn't able to get the ones that I air quote wanted. I was able to
I
get
get
credit
that.
cards, but I was like, I don't want it. But I had to realize, no, these were acceptable for me.
I
So,
went to see it, and so what I did was I looked at the TransUnion number, I looked at the Equifax number, and then I did go look at the FICO score on Experian. So I'm now using a combination of Experian and Credit Karma,
mm-hmm,
and I added those three scores up and did an average for my understanding of where like my pure
mm-hmm,
credit number was. But they were similar. My experience, like, and I saw that they were both going up. So I'm developing really good habits. Like, this is something that I'm super proud of
mm-hmm.
about myself, is that, I don't come from a family who historically have great credit. So
Yeah.
understanding that how it works and even being in a position to improve it is a really good feeling for me. I'm watching myself feel deserving of money. What happened?
Cicely Tyson passed away
Damn.
at 96.
No way.
Oh my God.
Of what? I mean, I was about time. I kept trying to tell y'all.
Oh my God. Hold on. Sorry. Oh, 96. They haven't said anything yet. It just like 21 minutes, but continue. So that was just,
Rest in peace, Cicely Tyson.
yes.
It was, she was knocking on the door, y'all.
Yeah, she was
A
96.
legend.
She's a legend. But
A legend.
did you have any like do you have like now knowing your history with finances, are you have you taken like any financial literacy classes?
No.
Do you have any apps that okay.
I have, I have not, and not because I'm not interested in learning, but I try to do a lot of the research on my own. Something about financial literacy. What? What? I can't say literacy. What?
Financial
Financial
literacy.
literacy. Something about those classes makes me uncomfortable. So I'm just trying to get past that. I have had people like reach out to me, but I'm always afraid if I go to a financial literacy class that someone will try to sell me something then, and I'm like, I'm
You
really good
know,
about research.
that sounds about right. I think I just needed to budget. I think the issue with me is definitely like um saying no. I'm an impulse buyer as well. I'm gonna just name that. I'm very much an impulse buyer. I need to just be more aggressive with not going into a store and just being like, I want it, I got it. Like I just need.
You know what I started doing?
What did you start doing?
When I think of something I want or I see something I want, I don't buy it then. I say, I want this. I'll give it some time and I'll continue saving. And then if I see it again that second time, I will have thought about whether I need it or not. And then I'll be like, okay, I'll get that. I think I did that with the ring light. I waited years before I got this ring light because I was like, I want it. I don't want to waste my money on it. And you notice I
Yeah.
didn't get it until we started doing videos for it. I
Mm-hmm.
like to buy things I know I need. That's
Yeah.
how I've been learning to save, is not being tricked into buying things I know I'm not going to use or that aren't going to have like a practical, I definitely need this.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think about my overthink a lot of things, but then I think I get to a point where I'm just like, fuck it, press send. I mean, press click, because I also think like, what if it don't go on sale again? What if the next time I look at it? Because I do that with tickets, like plane tickets, all the time. I'm always like, ugh, do I need to just get it right now? And then if I wait 2 weeks from now, if I wait, I'm always like that. So I need to definitely work on prioritizing if I need something, and is it okay if I wait for it? And I think I've been doing better with that recently, because that is something that like during the pandemic I don't go out. Like I didn't go out as much, but like I don't like and
Right.
go out that much. I do put time in like, okay, how what is my I give myself limits now. It's more so for me. I have to give myself a limit. I have to
That's
just cut it
smart.
off. I'm like,
That's exactly it. That's
you can
it.
wait until next month. If you have the money for next month, you can do it. If you do not, you have to hard stop. And I have to be okay with saying no to certain things. Like I was the type to be like, even if I just ate with us, if we all just like ate, or if I ate before we hung out and we ordered food, I would just be like, yeah, and then just like save it for later, knowing
I
I'm
used to
like,
do that.
right.
I used to
So
say no when I should have. I mean, yes when I should have said no. And I think you're socially. I think we make a lot of bad money decisions socially. Like if
yes,
you feel like you've got to keep up. I mean, I don't want to put that on anybody else, but I've historically felt like I need to
same.
keep up, and so I had to have that conversation. That was a really good conversation that I needed to have to transform my relationship with money. Stop worrying about being seen as poor and start worrying about doing what's best for you and your finances. And the minute that I started doing that, I started to see a shift in my finances. I was like, oh, like, okay, if I simply stop worrying about the perception of my finances and actually worry about my actual finances, it might be okay.
Yes, that is so true. And I like that you said that because that was something I learned specifically during the pandemic as well. Was like, okay, let me see how far I can go without spending money for a week. Like how far I can go with like buying the right appropriate groceries, actually cooking, actually like not feeling like I have to get drinks, like order like go somewhere and I saved a lot of money. Um, but yeah, I realized like I can do it. I just don't need any I need to just be better at saying no and not feel like, oh, people are going to say he's broke or no, I'm just, and then if you can't go out, then don't go out. That's the thing too. If
I
you
mean, find
cannot go
something,
out.
find a friend who will come in, and hang out with you. I mean, read a book, God damn it. I mean, there's so many things you can do. And I mean, we're in a pandemic now, so it should be slightly easier for people who are still employed and don't have a mountain of debt, just draining their resources without anything coming back in. Um, but yeah, I at this point in my life, I have a lot more control over my finances. I tell myself affirmations about money often as well. I think you're gonna find people who don't think this is valuable information, but I definitely think that we need to speak abundance over our lives. I definitely think that we have to internalize feeling like money will come to me, as I mean, and it doesn't have to flow out as quickly as it comes. I deserve money. I'm going to maintain my money and I'm going to live well. I think simply because I've watched a lot of people who, because of poverty will shape the way you see money. Clearly,
Yes, it will. Yes.
they will take whatever they can get. They have the mindset of, I mean, there are many resources. So, and when you, I'm not trying to sound, I'm not trying to sound the way that motherfuckers on Twitter be sounding when they blame poor people for their issues, but I do think that it works in tandem. That when you go without, you believe that you're always in survival mode, and that doesn't help you
Mm,
get anywhere. So you do start taking things that are less than, like, perfect example. Easier to find a job when you have a job because then you weigh out your options.
eggs.
When you don't have
Oh,
a job, you take things that are less than you. You'll take things that are going to pay you significantly less than you should be making. So that's the same thing when you're in a mindset of desperate need, of lack. When you're in a mindset of lack, you don't really give yourself an opportunity to really get the things that are going to put you in a good position. This is
yeah.
that whole thing about believing you deserve better, about knowing that, like, even though I'm experiencing this right now, there could come a time when I do get the money that I need. I mean, we were in a depression, but I doubt that, like, the entire country went the rest of their lives without, like, money. Like, maybe they weren't wealthy, and maybe their opportunities for wealth were, like, damaged, but I'm sure a lot of them ended up eating afterwards if they didn't die during the depression, of course.
Yeah.
But I think just as we have to understand that just as the economy dips and jumps and dips and jumps, our own lives can do that as well.
Hmm.
And so if we try our best, I think, to have positive mindsets about money, we'll at least be able to be in a space to look out for opportunities that will continue to take care of us.
Yes, I think that's great that you brought that up because I definitely am one um, that is, I'm not letting money stop me. I know I'm going to have money and I'm going to get money, but I definitely don't need money to be the stressor of my life. At the end of the day, like money comes and goes. If I have it, I have it. If I don't, I don't. But I will be happy.
Yep.
And I know that if money, which all people, money is going to be, I'm going to receive blessings. I'm
Yeah.
going to receive those blessings. I'm going to receive those blessings. So I need to not stress if I can't, do these things with people, if I can't go on trips, if I can't. No, when it's my time, it is my time. Okay, honey? My
Um,
time.
give me 1 second. I wanna do something before we wrap up. I wanna do a cool little exercise.
Yay! I love a game. I
Yes,
love
honey.
games.
Okay, we're gonna do so. It's not a game.
Okay.
Sorry. We're gonna do some abundance affirmations.
Okay, let's go. Y'all ready? Let's do it. I'm excited.
Okay, so this one looks cute, so I'm gonna read it. Hopefully they don't make me pay for it.
Do I have to repeat after you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to find which one we're gonna do first. Okay, ready?
Yes.
I want money, and that's okay.
I want money, and that's okay.
Abundance is coming. I deserve it and accept it.
Abundance is coming. I deserve it, and I accept it.
Today, I commit to living my financial dreams.
Today, I commit to living my financial dreams
I'm getting out of my own way when it comes to money.
and getting out of my own way when it comes to money.
I think the last one we're gonna do is here we go. I am always discovering new sources of income.
I'm always discovering new sources of income.
I highly suggest that you guys look out for money or just abundance affirmations. If nothing else, they really do help your
Girl, I
brain.
thought I had to repeat that. I was like, I was like,
My bad. I did use the same exact voice I read those affirmations. I'm so
I was
sorry.
like, wait. I can't. Okay.
I
Okay.
do. I
Yeah.
highly recommend. This is what has helped me. I even when I don't have like the amount of money that I want to have, it just the lack of stress has really been healthy for me, and it has allowed me to be smarter about how I spend my money because I'm clear headed. I'm not like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to scramble to do things, and to hold on to money and then not seeing clearly what my finances look like.
Yeah.
So I hope that if nothing else, because I know that I haven't been super like I mean, because we're in a financial crisis, a lot of this was super heavy, but I did want to end the episode with on a more positive note so that we can transform hopefully a lot of people's relationships with money if they're not
Yes.
healthy already.
I think that this is something that we all need to have the conversation about, specifically as millennials, specifically as just Black people in general, predominantly Black people that listen, of course. We need to hear it. We need to know that shit. It ain't hard. I mean, it's not that easy. It's not hard. Well, it's not been that easy, but it can get easy, is what I'm trying to say. And
Yes,
you know,
absolutely. Things will get better. Ooh,
see, child, things are gonna get easier.
yeah. Ooh.
But we got that. But thank you all for listening to this episode with us. If you would like to continue the conversation with me and Devin on our social media platforms, you can hit me up at my Instagram and Twitter at _lordevery. That is _LORDEVERY.
And you can find me on Instagram at derwinking. That's DERWINKING. And on Twitter at Free Negro. That's FREENEGREAUX.
And if you would like to continue the conversation on the podcast social media platforms, you can hit us up you can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at that Black Boy Joy. And if you would like to write into us or be a guest on the show, please hit us up in our Gmail at that Black Boy Joy podcast at gmail.com. And of course, our episodes are on YouTube, so you can look us up on YouTube at that Black Boy Joy. And
Pending.
like we all pending. Why? No, we have videos up. We have videos
We
up.
do.
The rest of the videos will be
Thank you.
y'all gonna see it. Y'all gonna see it. But like we always say, please be so in love with who you are. Do it again. I couldn't.